Hello and welcome. My name is Helen McKinnon, and in December 2020, I carried out a research project which set out to answer the question, what happened when we decided to build dens outside? This project was supported by Dr Elizabeth Henderson. Information about the research. It was a small-scale research project. It took place in a local authority nursery on 6 different days over a 2-week period in December 2020. It focused on one class, which at the time comprised of 17 children aged between 3 and 5. All children mentioned in this research have been given pseudonyms. I, as the researcher, was also a participant in the project, carrying out the observations, and it took place during the coronavirus pandemic. What is a den? I started the project by asking the children some questions to ascertain their knowledge and understanding about dens. As you can see from their answers, they understood dens to be structures built outside from wood and places that they could go inside. As you can see from the slide, this is close to the definition given in the Cambridge Dictionary. Understanding dens as an enclosed space. Following on from thinking about what a den is, I asked the children to illustrate their ideas. As you can see from their drawings, they all depicted dens as being an enclosed space, a place that they could go inside. Introducing den building. The next step was to consider how I would introduce the den building. In this situation, I intentionally planned to set up a den as a provocation. This meant sourcing loose parts which the children could learn to use independent of adult support, so den building would become accessible and part of our continuous provision. On day 1, I set up a simple den and repeated this on day 2. Thereafter, I set up partial dens to motivate children to get involved. What happens when we give children time and space to carry on after the provocation? From day 1, there was a lot of interest in the den, with most children intrigued by its presence. Over the next few slides, I will focus on the experiences of 3 children. The builder. First, we have John, who began to build a den without any verbal invitation. He recreated the den built as the initial provocation and focused solely on the construction. Once he achieved his goal, he left to play elsewhere and showed no interest in using the structure as a play space. John illustrates the cognitive and physical learning in den building. John was able to reflect on his learning and describe his building process, as you can see on the slide. Building to connect. On day 4 of the project, Amelia became involved. At first, she watched others building, then she stepped in to help out, and then finally on day 5, she set up a den by herself. In contrast to John, the builder, the social aspect of the den was most important to Amelia. After creating the den, she set about furnishing it with crates carefully draped in material, perhaps as an invitation for others to join her. Other children gathered around her and happily accepted her as the lead player. As Amelia is quite shy in nursery, this was a special moment for me as an observer and perhaps for her too. Amelia was able to reflect on her experience, and you can read her quotes on the slide. Building to belong. On day 1, Layla was the first child to enter the den. She sat inside and said, "It's amazing." She used the den as a place to hide with friends during their role play, but never chose to take part in the den building. On the last day of my observations, Layla accepted my invitation to build a den. This experience provided her with an opportunity to take control of the space around her. and create a space in which to feel safe. Shortly after this research project, we went into another lockdown at the beginning of 2021. When we returned in March 2021, Den building provided Layla with a purpose to attend to and a way of engaging with both adults and other children. By making a den, she created a place for herself and an invitation to other children to join her without having to initiate interactions. I need spaces where I can relax, feel safe, happy, content, and cozy, and which give a sense of care and well-being. This is a quote taken from Realizing the Ambition. Looking out on the world. Some children use the den as a quiet space to just be and look out on the world. These children sat for some time together, quietly looking and resting. In Realizing the Ambition, it states that children need spaces to stop, think, and relax. The Hideaway. Life can be overwhelming at times, and the den provided a space for children to relax, rest, and manage their emotions. Providing children with the opportunity to create dens supports the message from Realizing the Ambition that children need small, enclosed spaces to self-regulate. Children chose to role play within the dens, and as you can see from the slide, there was a great variety of types of role play. The children created space in their own way, they took ownership of it, and they showed creativity and used their imaginations. What does a den provide for children? Challenge and purpose, opportunities for collaboration with others, chance to use their creative thinking skills, and a sense of achievement, a sense of agency and belonging, a safe and nurturing space, a place to look out on the world, a place for solitude and contemplation, a place to self-regulate, a place for friendship. And I wonder if this meant more to the children during the chaos of the coronavirus pandemic. What is the practitioner's role? To plan, both intentionally and responsively, to provide enabling resources and environments, to set up motivating learning provocations, to foster a child's sense of agency, to empower them as learners, to give children time and space to evolve their learning in their own way. And this quote that you can see on the screen is from Yi Fu Tuan. He indicates that children can develop a space into their place through sensory and motor interactions with their environment. This helps promote their well-being as it nurtures a sense of belonging, not only to themselves, but to their environment, enabling them to feel safe, secure, and at home. What are the children doing now? Before the end of term in December 2020, I was delighted to observe a group of children working together to independently create a den. This observation provided confirmation that setting up provocations and providing enabling resources had made den building accessible and something the children could take ownership of in their play. On returning from lockdown in March 2021, children continued to utilise the loose parts and resources provided to build dens. Thank you for listening. That concludes this presentation.